Okay. Brian, you good? Good. Awesome. All right.
Good morning, everyone. Today is June 16th, 2026. It's 10:02. There's a quorum present. Please note that Commissioner Gilman is not here today. Again, we have a quorum. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. If you can all join me for our second agenda item, which is to convene as the Story County Board of County Commissioners, bringing us item number 2, which is Pledge of Allegiance. If you can all stand and join me for that, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On to item number 3 on today's agenda is public comment. Public comment is welcomed at the beginning and end of each meeting. These comments should be limited to matters not on today's calendar or agenda. Public comment is again welcomed after each item on the agenda, and those comments should be limited to the agendized topic. As a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per individual. With that said, is there any public comment in the courtroom today?
Good morning, Chair Carmona, Commissioners, and Story County staff. Kim Fleming, the Northern Nevada Contract Manager with Waste Management. I know you have a full agenda today, so I'll try and keep this brief. First, I'd like to extend a save the date to each of you to join us at our annual Lockwood Luncheon at Lockwood Landfill, which this year will be on Monday, September 14th. As you know, this has always been a meaningful event, and this year we're excited to host students from both Hillside and Gallagher Elementary Schools. There will be about 150 students there, so we're super excited to have them. During the luncheon, we'll also present a donation to support the computer storage stations for Gallagher Elementary. And I'll be sure to share some formal invitations as soon as I've got that available for you. And we'd be honored to have you attend. Of course, I always like to give you an update of where we stand with our surveys. So year to date, our average voice of the customer surveys for Story County with Waste Management is 8.96 out of 10. So this reflects our strong satisfaction across our residential, commercial, and roll-off services, and is a direct result of the consistent, high-quality work our team provides. While we are proud of this achievement, we remain focused on continuing to improve and serve the community. Lastly, I'd like to introduce our Lockwood Landfill District Manager, Dan Magnaga, and also we have one of our summer interns, Cole Boyer, who's with us today. So Dan plays a critical role in our daily operations, account management, and community coordination, basically everything post-collections. I'd like to invite him to share a few remarks and provide a brief update on the current landfill operations, including recent updates and reminders related to the tarping requirements, which is an important part of maintaining safety, compliance, and a clean community. So thank you again for your time and your continued partnership. Thank you.
September 14th. I'll just put 11.
Yeah, good morning. So at that introduction, I'm Dan Magnaga, the District Manager of Lockwood Landfill, and actually some post-collections now as well in the Reno area. So thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. The updates, looking forward to seeing you all at the lunch at the landfill, of course. And yeah, we have been noticing, much like most of us that I-80 is, we're seeing some litter there. So we have actually been policing the litter situation at the scale house actively. There's citations being issued to frequent people. We have a camera system that we're taking pictures and providing it to the owners. We've sent multiple emails to big third-party haulers, and then more for the public side, we're educating when these people are coming in with loads that weren't tarped, especially during like free dump days. That's when we see our highest public volume. And so just explaining, they may not have to buy tarps, but some sort of cover to help prevent the litter on all our roads. So it's something we're actively looking at. We're not sure. We're working with other teams to see how we can maybe provide a cleanup along that stretch of the highway as well. We've adopted the highway as well from I-80 there, but I'd like to see even a little more effort on the off-ramp and heading to the bridge there as well. So that's kind of the biggest thing that we've been working towards there. And operationally, we've actually changed how this place has been ran for probably the last 20 years, and we're doing a more effective, I hate to use the word, like kind of more of a California way, let's say, to operate a landfill that's much more compliant, and it prevents a lot less litter from being produced from the active face. So that's my team has been really focusing hard, and we're changing that culture up there and really trying to make the operation much more environmentally friendly.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update, appreciate it.
Yes, of course.
All right, is there any other public comment in the courtroom today? All right, thank you for those who came up. We're going to move right along to item number 4, which is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of the agenda for June 16th, 2026 meeting. County Manager, are there any changes to the agenda today?
There are not at this time, Commissioner.
All right.
If I may just make one point of order.
Yeah, please.
It is usual and customary on our agendas that the number 1 item is listed as call to order.
Okay.
It is not listed, but we're able to continue to proceed. You were able to do that. It's a ministerial non-action item. And so I just wanted to state for the record here today and for the public that even though that item is normally listed as number 1, you're able to proceed this morning.
All right, thank you for that, Brian. All right, not seeing any changes. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments about the agenda?
I don't, thank you.
All right, how about public comment regarding the agenda and the items that contain within? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I move to approve today's agenda as presented.
All right, I'll second that motion. There's a motion, I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 5 is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval of the minutes from the May 5th, 2026 meeting. Vice Chairman, you have any questions or comments on those minutes?
I don't.
All right, how about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the minutes of our May 5th, 2026 meeting as presented.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. For item number 6, I'd like to request that we continue this until the following meeting,
It's July 7th.
July 7th.
Okay.
You good with that?
Yep.
All right. Is there any public comment? All right. This in regards to the meeting for the May 19th, the minutes for the May 19th meeting. Not seeing any public comment. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to continue this item to our July 7th meeting.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 7 is today's consent agenda. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
I do not. Thank you, sir.
All right, how about public comment? Not seeing any public comment on the consent agenda. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve today's consent agenda as presented.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 8 is discussion only. No action, no public comment will be taken. These are committee and staff reports. Kick things off today with the Sheriff's Office. Oh, sorry.
You know, I'm gonna,
So there are changes to the
There.
agenda.
yeah, so I'm gonna ask Brian to navigate me through this for a second. So, Mr. Chairman, I do ask in the light of time, we have to complete today's meeting by 1 o'clock.
Okay.
There's gonna be court taking place after 1 o'clock, so we'll have to have everything wrapped up. Didn't catch that until now. That would technically be a change to the agenda to move staff reports to the end of the agenda instead of the beginning. Brian, do you suggest that we go back to the agenda, or are we okay with the board moving this item to the end of the agenda at this time?
Yeah. You're not technically changing the agenda, and it's the chair's discretion as to the items and the manner in which, the method in which they're called on to be heard. So it's within the chair's authority to put that off until the end.
All right.
Should you choose to take it off the calendar, it would require an action at the end to vote.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. Thank you for that. So we're going to go ahead and move that to the end of the agenda. Brings us to item number 9, which is board comment. Vice Chairman, do you have anything for us today?
I don't have any comment. Thank you.
All right. I just have a few comments. For those that took the time to go, the state fair happened last weekend. Story County, along with a few other counties, were present there at the entrance of the state fair, just giving information out about the counties. I wanted to thank our staff who manned the booth Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I was down there with the county manager on Saturday, and it was beautifully hot. Thank you for the tent, whoever furnished that. But all jokes aside, I know staff put a lot of time into that, and I just wanted to say thank you for everybody's time and efforts. I know that was sort of my pet project, so I appreciate everybody spending time during their day to be there and educate the public. The only other things I'd like to talk about today is, unfortunately, we had a few folks pass away since our last commission meeting. I'm going to ask for a moment of silence for the following. Corby Hansen, longtime Virginia City resident, passed away. Sarah Jensen, prior county recorder, also county resident. And Karen Tassoni also has passed away. So if we can have a moment of silence for those 3 residents that are no longer with us, I would appreciate it. All right, thank you. Moving right along to item number 10, which is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of the acceptance of the renewal from the Nevada Public Agency Insurance Pool for liability and casualty insurance, along with the deductible options for fiscal year 26 through 27.
Good morning, Jennifer McCain, Story County Comptroller for the record. This is what it says, a renewal for our FY27 liability insurance. I have Wayne Carlson from the pool and Jared Rossi from LP Insurance, and I'm going to pass it over to them.
For the record, I'm Wayne Carlson. Jared?
Jared Rossi with LP Insurance.
Morning.
You want to kick this off, Jared?
Yep, we'll do. You present your renewal. I the proposal. Expenses, $25,000 per loss. Unintentional errors and omissions, $5 million per loss. Money and securities, $500,000 per loss. Ordinance or law for a lead building, $500,000, and agreed value for vehicles for the schedule. Moving on to the next section is liability coverage. Your current liability limit is $10 million per year, and your aggregate $10 million. Some limits included are additional insured, $2 million, weed spray property damage, $250,000 with an aggregate of $250,000, emergency response to pollution, $1 million with an aggregate of $1 million, criminal defense fees and costs, $50,000 with an aggregate of $50,000, and defense for regulatory agency actions, $50,000. Additionally, there's a sexual abuse sublimit of $2.5 million with an aggregate of $2.5 million. Moving to the next section, cyber risk coverage. Your maintenance deductible is 10% up to $25,000. As far as the limits within there, coverage limits are $1 million for the privacy and security event, as well as an annual aggregate of $1 million up to $15 million total for all pool members combined. Additionally, new coverage coming in, cyber crime coverage at $500,000. Moving to the next item, environmental liability coverage comes in 4 parts. Third-party claims for bodily injury, property damage, or remediation expense. Coverage B, first-party remediation. Coverage C, emergency response expense. And coverage D, business interruption. For coverages A, B, and C, your deductible is $25,000. Each limit $2 million with an aggregate limit of $10 million. For coverage D, which is business interruption, it's a time element item, so your deductible is 3 days. Your business interruption limit is 365 days with a dollar limit of $2 million. I'll send it back to Wayne real quick for the program structure, and then we'll come back to your whole study of the program.
Thanks, Jared.
pages get stuck. All right, the program structure is kind of a graph that lays out what Jared was talking about. But our property side, we go to the Lloyd's of London market, which is a marketplace of various, what they call syndicates, but are similar to insurance companies. And we approach probably 19, 20 syndicates who participate in various layers with our program. And this year we had great success with the syndicates who got a reduction in their rate. And we presented the combined values of all of our members of close to $9 billion. It was 8.8 something. On the liability side, we have several reinsurers that we work with. We restructured that a little bit this year because the carrier that provided coverage above $3 million wanted to cut their capacity because of losses that they've experienced with other clients. And so we found another carrier to split that layer with them. But otherwise, we kept the full limit of $10 million intact. Same for auto. We have $10 million on auto. And then for wrongful acts, we maintain that $10 million, except for the sexual abuse and molestation sublimit of $2.5 million. And then the cyber was a challenge because the carrier we'd been working with for years exited the market altogether. So we had to shop the whole program in the market to find another carrier willing to work with us, and we were successful in doing that. So we maintained the $1 million limit with a $15 million pool aggregate limit. The pool itself bears $100,000, but the pool's captive, which the pool members own. And you're, as a pool member, you have a combined ownership member in the captive. The captive bears the next $900,000, and then the amounts above that are provided by reinsurance. And then we continued the terrorism, property, and casualty coverage at the current limits of $10 million, and the environmental liability of $2 million with a $10 million aggregate. And our schools get student accident coverage, but that doesn't affect your program, your portion of the program. So it was a good year in terms of negotiations to get a reasonably good package. And I'll note that your program costs total went up about 11%. However, your underlying exposures, like payroll and total insured property values, went up much more than that. So payroll went up 20%, and total insured values went up 36%. So there's a substantial decrease in the rate that kept the overall charge to you down, even though your exposures for key areas doubled or went up substantially. So we also provide a lot of services from a risk management standpoint, and you guys take advantage of that. You work with our HR team, you work with our risk management team. We have one thing I do want to point out is that we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Public Agency Compensation Trust, which is our work comp pool, which you guys also are a member of. And it happens to be the 39th year of the Nevada Public Agency Insurance Pool. And I've been involved in the pool from the beginning, so about half my life has been spent doing risk pooling. So we had some commemorative coins produced, and I'll hand these to Jennifer to distribute out to the various team members at the county in recognition of their commitment to the program and trying to achieve great risk management results, which helps the overall program and you as an individual member maintain your costs. So with that, I'll turn it back to Jared.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne. Here for the record, Jared Rossi with LP Insurance. Again, I'm going to just cover real quick the changes to the program as far as limits, and then we'll move to the deductible study. So I'm in page 97 of your packet. Property limit per loss increase to $500 million. That equipment breakdown limit increase up to $150 million now. Cyber liability changes, again, moving to that other carrier, that $1 million limit in aggregate per member for first and third party liability, as well as the $500,000 supplement for cybercrime. There's also exclusion that has been included specific to PFAS that's been added, and that you would see that typically are right under the fire department. Definition for agreed value has been updated for clarification on autos, and also add requirements for retaining a salvage after loss. So that's if you had a vehicle and it was able to be salvaged, then there is new language in there for that. There was also a change to the interlocal agreement as well that the board that was voted on by that board, and it has to do with 128 notice of withdrawal. Moving to the last item, then we'll cover deductible study, which is on page 104 of your packet. We looked at two different deductibles. We looked at a $10,000 deductible, and we looked at a $25,000 deductible. We looked at your loss history and the premiums associated with that to see where those were matching up. We took your loss history for the last 10 years. We took the total incurred and we capped each one at the differing deductible levels to see what kind of costs we would have incurred had we been in that program for those years. And then we matched the current premium to those values. So that the colorful chart in the middle shows what it would look like for your best loss year, your average loss year, and your worst loss year under both scenarios, the 10,000 and the 25,000. And under the best and average, the $25,000 deductible would be beneficial. Under your worst loss year, it was the $10,000 that was beneficial. However, the delta between the two was not significant. Almost $20,000. $1,009,000 and $1,032,000. So not a significant difference, but we do want to point out that it was a better outcome on that worst last year. However, looking at 25,000, I think that's the recommendation we would make, given the average and the best years and how that loss history has been put together. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Jared. Do you want to add anything, Jennifer?
Jennifer McCain for the record. I just want to let the board know that our office and talking with the county manager, we concur with the $25,000 deductible.
All right, thank you. Anything else to add, Wayne? No? All right, thank you again, Wayne and Jared. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
Just one. Thank you, Wayne and Jared, for the presentation. Just trying to understand what the PFAS exclusion is, and I would imagine what it looks like is that we would be excluded from coverage should there be a claim of liability related to PFAS.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Is there any public comment at this time? All right, not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I think I am. Let me just get back to the beginning of the packet here. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the renewal from the Nevada Public Agency Insurance Pool for liability and casualty insurance with a deductible of $25,000 with an annual premium not to exceed no, premium amount. What's listed, I believe, is a premium for the $10,000 deductible. At a cost of $778,815.48.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thanks again, Jared, Wayne, Jennifer, appreciate it. Thank you. Moving right along to item number 11, this is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval to adopt the Gold Canyon Area Drainage Master Plan A presentation of the plan will be provided by J.E. Fuller in conjunction with the Carson Water Subconservancy District.
Good morning, Kathy Canfield for the record. So we have been working, Story County's been working with both Lyon County and the Carson Water Subconservancy District to look at an area master drainage plan for the Gold Hill area. We did have a community meeting last night that went over the results of this. You may recall some of you were able to attend the meeting in May of 2025 where we had the kickoff for this. So I'm going to introduce Mike Kellogg, and he's got a quick presentation for you. And then also this document is available on our website.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Mike Kellogg. I'm with J.E. Fuller. I'm here to present the results and findings of the Gold Canyon Area Drainage Master Plan. As Kathy mentioned, we presented this last night at a public meeting. We had a handful of residents come out, and they had good questions, and it was a good interaction with them. This project was a combination of, or a collaboration with Carson Water Subconservancy District, Lyon County, Story County, funded by FEMA grant, and the technical team was J.E. Fuller and Lumos and Associates. And I recognize the expeditious manner to present today in your short time. So I'm going to skip to kind of the main part of this related to this project related to Story County. We initially modeled the Gold Canyon watershed as part of the Dayton Valley Area Drainage Master Plan back in 2019. But the focus of that study was the Dayton area. So although we modeled the Gold Canyon watershed for that study, it wasn't as detailed as it was as we redid it for this project. So we remodeled the entire watershed with much higher resolution mapping, modeling, hydraulic structures, culverts, those sorts of things. We updated all that information in our modeling and developed a very, very comprehensive, very detailed modeling for flood risk within the entire Gold Canyon watershed. I had some animations to present, but they're not in the PDF version of this, so I will jump ahead. One of the key elements to these types of studies is to collect flood experience from residents in the community. And so we met in May of 2025 with the public to kick off the project and had them bring their flood experience to us with pictures, videos, anecdotal history. And we used that information to help us to know that our modeling was accurate. That was very good and useful information to receive that from the public. Here's some examples of a couple of pictures that we received that we then compare to our modeling results to verify that we are as accurate as we can be. We also did some sedimentation engineering. We know that sediment transport, getting dirt, mud, rocks on the roads is a problem. And so we did some engineering to quantify what those values could be for potential future design of structures. So in our study, we identified initially 10 areas of high levels of flood risk. We looked at two different regulatory storm events, a 25-year and a 100-year storm. From that 10 initial areas, we worked with both Story County and Lyon County representatives and narrowed it down to 6 areas to focus on. And of those 6 areas, we had 9 potential projects potentially selected for designed to move to a 15% concept design for flood mitigation. From those 9 projects, we narrowed it down to 3, again, working with the counties and prioritizing areas that they had a priority on. And so for Story County, we narrowed it down to 2 project areas. One is just south of the railroad crossing along Gold Canyon. There's a row of residential homes on the east side that we showed get pretty significantly flooded during both a 25-year and a 100-year storm. And so we developed some mitigation alternatives to divert some of that flood water from the east side of the highway to the west side where there isn't currently development, and then improve some channel, roadside channel along that west side to help reduce the flood risk to those homes. And the second project area is at Devil's Gate. So that's a culvert that crosses under the highway right there. It's undersized, and so we looked at, well, what size culvert would need to be added to, or additional culverts or larger culvert to be added so that those type of storm events could pass under the road without putting sediment and dirt and water on the road, making that road impassable for a period of time. We worked closely with NDOT folks on these projects, as most of them were either within an NDOT right-of-way or an NDOT facility. So the two Story County projects we worked closely with NDOT on, and they were part of the technical reviewers of this study and provided comments to us. So project 4 listed here is the diversion system up south of the railroad. SR 342 culvert improvements was project number 6, and then project number 9 is in Lyon County, so I won't go into the details for that. We also developed some estimated costs for those projects, including a 20-year operation and maintenance cost. So we have the initial construction cost with 20-year O&M cost, and then a total cost over 20-year net present value for those projects. We also provided in our technical report some potential funding sources to help pay for these types of projects. Many of these are FEMA grants that the counties could apply for, and some of them have cost share, not all of them do, to help if the counties were to want to proceed to develop these projects further and go to final design. Some of these grants could help pay for construction of those types of projects. And then finally, NDOT cost share, as these are, a lot of these are on NDOT roads or within NDOT right-of-way, working with NDOT to cost share on these projects. Public outreach is a big part of these studies. We had an open house on May 13th, 2025, as I mentioned. Last night we had our final public meeting where we presented the results and these alternatives. We have this meeting here today with you, and then we're going to have present the project to the Carson Water Subconservancy District Board tomorrow night, and then Thursday night we will present it at the Lyon County Commissioners meeting. That is my presentation. I welcome any questions that you might have.
All right, thank you very much. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, thank you, Mike. The cost estimates for the projects, were those for the full construction on the project or just the 15% design?
They were for full construction.
Great, thank you.
Is there any public comment regarding this item? Not seeing any. Anything else to add, Kathy, before I go to motion?
I'm just going to say thank you to Carson Water Subconservancy District and Mike Kellogg and his crew. We were very appreciative to all this. They took on the full costs for all this. The Story County didn't pay for any of this other than staff time to add input. As we're looking at this plan, our next steps then would be to look at our capital improvement program, see how we would work that into that program. We've also been sharing a lot of this information that we have with our project managers because we do know that there's some projects that are coming through there, and we're trying to see if there's any way that some of this could fit into a project if we're digging areas up anyway. We don't want to impact any grant funding or any kind of process with that kind of thing either, so we're very sensitive to that topic, but trying to incorporate as much as we can if we've got the area done. And then we'll be working with NDOT also because this is their right of way for the most part. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Anything else, Commissioner?
Yeah, I do have one other question that came up. If we were to decide to go ahead and move forward with these projects, but Lyon County was not in a position to do so at the same time, does that potentially create problems where we're creating better flows down the canyon, but could that potentially exacerbate issues on their side of the county line?
Generally, no, not with these types of projects that we're proposing. It would be something I would recommend looking at. We didn't really look at an analysis to say, what if this one got built but these others didn't? That would be a pretty simple task to look at what those impacts are. But these are quite distant from each other, and so I would suspect it's not going to be a problem.
Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah. One more time, is there any public comment regarding this item? All right, not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to adopt the Gold Canyon Area Drainage Master Plan.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Kathy.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Moving right along to item number 12, this discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of a grant of easement file number 2026-027 to NV Energy for communication and electric facilities within Sam Clemens Avenue right-of-way, Mark Twain, Story County, Nevada. Kathy?
Yes, thank you again. Kathy Canfield for the record. This is an easement that NV Energy is requesting. It's related to the Mark Twain garage building that we're building. This is something that's out in the street. There were two pieces. We might recall that we had another easement that we did maybe a meeting or two ago, and this is just another piece that was actually out in the road and not on the county property. We've talked to Public Works, and they don't have any concerns with the proposed easement.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't, thank you.
Is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, in accordance with the recommendation by staff, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the grant of easement 2026-027 to NV Energy for the communication and electric facilities within the Sam Clemens Avenue right-of-way as Mark Twain, Story County, Nevada.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Kathy. On to item number 13, this discussion for possible action, discussion and possible consideration approving notice of intent between Story County and the Story County School District to cooperate in planning for the future use and transfer of the Virginia City Middle School and Hugh Gallagher Elementary School facilities to the county to be converted into future county administrative offices and public use facilities. County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Austin Osborne for the record. Also with me or in the audience is the Story County School District Superintendent and his team. We have been communicating, as you're aware of, for quite some time about a potential project by which the school district would transfer Gallagher Elementary and the middle school over to the county in order for us to retrofit those buildings into future administrative offices and or community centers. This is a notice of intent. It is a non-binding agreement, but it outlines and specifies the different roles that the parties would take through the next steps of the process before we would engage in an interlocal agreement that would be binding for the actual transfer of the project, as well as us sharing resources with the school district. This document, if approved today by this board, will also be heard by the school district tonight, at which I'll be presenting this board's decision at that meeting with the school superintendent.
All right. Thank you, Austin. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments at this time?
I don't, thank you.
All right, how about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the attached notice of intent with the Story County School District regarding future use and transfer of defined school buildings.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Austin. On to item number 14, consideration and possible approval of resolution number 26-818, granting the Community Chest, Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit, the sum of $730,997 for fiscal year 26 through 27 for the specific purpose of funding health and human services and education programs. Sarah?
Sarah Sturts for the record. So under NRS 244.1505, a grant of money to a nonprofit organization must be made by resolution of the board, which specifies the purpose of the grant and any conditions imposed on the expenditure of the granted money. The proposed resolution meets the requirements of the statute. This is an increase of $295,230. Most of this increase comes from a new ask of $250,000 that we have not seen before from Community Chest. This is to help offset the loss of federal funding for vital mental health, domestic violence, and domestic advocacy support services and early childhood education youth programming. The remaining increase is to cover the increased operational costs for the community center and the library, and that is largely attributed to inflation. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't have any questions, thank you.
All right, how about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve resolution number 26-818, granting the Community Chest, Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit, the sum of $730,997 for the fiscal year 2026-2027 for the specific purpose of funding health and human services and educational programs.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 15 is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval of resolution number 26-819, granting the historic Fourth Ward School Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $130,000 for fiscal year 26 through 27. Sarah?
Sarah Sturts for the record, so I apologize for the redundancy in advance. You're going to hear this repeated several times. So under NRS 244.1505, a grant of money to a nonprofit organization must be made by resolution of the board, which specifies the purpose of the grant and any conditions imposed on the expenditures of the granted money. This proposed resolution meets the requirements of that statute. This is an increase of $10,000 from last year. This increase is driven by rising operational and utility costs, continued safety and maintenance needs, and increased staffing to responsibly operate and expand public programming and public access at the Fourth Ward School Museum. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
How about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve resolution number 26-819, granting the historic Fourth Ward School Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $130,000 for fiscal year 2026-2027 for the purpose of preserving the historic Fourth Ward School Museum, a county-owned building, and for promoting the history of the Comstock and Story County.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't know, out of an abundance of caution, I thought I should disclose that I serve on the board of the Fourth Ward School, but that is one of my assignments as a commissioner, and I feel in no way that prohibits me from considering this item fair.
All right, thank you for that.
And to be clear, I received no compensation for that assignment.
Okay, thank you very much. There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 16. This is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of resolution number 26-820, granting the Story County G Posse, a 501c3 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $12,000 for fiscal year 26 through 27. Sarah?
Sarah Starts for the record. Under NRS 244.1505, a grant of money to a nonprofit organization must be made by the resolution of the board, which specifies the purpose of the grant and any conditions imposed on the expenditure of the granted money. The proposed resolution meets the requirements of that statute, and this is the same amount that they requested last year. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Vice Chairman, questions, comments?
No, I'm good, thank you.
All right. How about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve resolution 26-820, granting the Story County Jeep Posse, a 501c3 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $12,000 for the fiscal year 2026-2027 for the purpose of aiding and assisting all Story County residents.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 17, discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of resolution number 26-821, granting St. Mary's Arts Center, a 501c3 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $109,000 for fiscal year 26 through 27. Sarah?
Sarah Starts for the record. Under NRS 244.1505, a grant of money to a nonprofit organization must be made by resolution of the board, which specifies the purpose of the grant and any conditions imposed on the expenditure of the granted money. The proposed resolution meets the requirements of that statute. This is an increase of $7,990 from the previous year. This increase is due to higher operating expenses in the previous fiscal year 24-25, and this program allows nonprofits to request up to 50% of their annual expenses. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you for that, Sarah. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I'm good, thank you.
All right, is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve resolution number 26-821, granting St. Mary's Arts Center, Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $109,000 for fiscal year 2026-2027 for the purpose of preserving the St. Mary's Arts Center, a county-owned building, and supporting arts and culture through education and cultural offerings.
All right, there's a motion, but I will also take a moment to state that I am on that board as one of my assignments for being a commissioner, and I do not believe that impacts my decision today. So with that said, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 18. This is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of resolution number 26-822, granting the University of Nevada, Reno, Story County Extension, a 501c3 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $55,000 for fiscal year 26 through 27. Sarah?
Sarah starts for the record. Under NRS 244.1505, a grant of money to a nonprofit organization must be made by resolution of the board, which specifies the purpose of the grant, any conditions imposed on the expenditure of the granted money. The proposed resolution meets the requirement of that statute. This is a $20,000 increase from last year. Now, while the workforce development component of their application was not approved for this fiscal year, UNR Cooperative Extension has stated they will use the $20,000 to expand their 4-H club involvement, in-school and after-school STEM education, adult health and nutrition classes, and participation in local community events. That is all I have.
Thank you, Sarah. Vice Chairman, questions, comments?
No, thank you.
Is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve resolution number 26-822, granting the University of Nevada, Reno, Story County Extension, a 501c3 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $55,000 for fiscal year 2026-2027 for the purpose of addressing contemporary issues in the areas of agriculture, horticulture, community development, health and nutrition, personal and family development, and natural resources.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 19, which is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of resolution number 26-823, granting the 109 Comstock Ladies, a 501c3 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $6,000 for fiscal year 26 through 27. Sarah?
Sarah starts for the record. Under NRS 244.1505, a grant of money to a nonprofit organization must be made by resolution of the board, which specifies the purpose of the grant and any conditions imposed on the expenditure of the granted money. The proposed resolution meets the requirements of the statute, and this is the same amount that they requested and were granted last year. That's all I have.
Thank you, Sarah. Vice Chairman, questions, comments?
No, thank you.
All right, how about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve resolution number 26-823, granting the 109 Comstock Ladies, a 501c3 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $6,000 for fiscal year 2026-2027 for the purpose of preserving heritage and community through specific programs that support the children of Story County.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 20. This is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of resolution number 26-824, granting the Veterans of Foreign Wars Evans Kendall Post 8071, a 501c19 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $12,000 for fiscal year 26 through 27. Sarah?
Sarah starts for the records. For the last time, under NRS 244.1505, a grant of money to a nonprofit organization must be made by resolution of the board, which specifies the purpose of the grant and any conditions imposed on the expenditure of that granted money. The proposed resolution meets the requirements of the statute. This is a $2,000 increase from last year's request. This increase is to cover the additional projected expenses for additional fundraising events planned for this upcoming fiscal year. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not. Thank you.
How about public comment?
Morning, County Commissioner and members of the Commission. I'm John Strahan, lifetime member of UFW Post 8071. Joined today by 8 members of our post that wanted to also come and represent and express our gratitude to the county for this continued support that we receive. So if, I'd like to take a couple minutes and just let you know how the last 3 years of receiving this grant, how we continue to excel in our mission of providing services to veterans in the community. In the past year, under the leadership of our new commander, Janelle Milich, who unfortunately is at a funeral today and cannot attend, our post has achieved not only the recognition as an all-state post, we've also received what's called the All-American Post. This represents our accomplishments within the post in both recruiting, retention, community service hours, and service to veterans. It's a nationally recognized award that our post here in Virginia City has received. Also, we're coming into our 80th year as a VFW post here in Virginia City. And our 80th anniversary will be coming in September, and I'm sure we're going to throw some kind of celebration, and we'll be making sure to put that out. Another thing I'd like to note, again, right here from our small post in Virginia City, I'd like to recognize Brian Staples. Brian's a longtime Virginia City resident and lifetime member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. This year, Brian has been elected as the state commander for all of Nevada for all of the VFWs, which represents how many thousand people, Brian?
Say again?
How many thousand in the VFW in Nevada?
In Nevada, there's approximately 32,000.
And Brian is now elected to represent all 32,000 veterans in the VFW. So not a bad accomplishment for, again, little post 8071 right here in Virginia City, continuing to serve veterans in the community on the Comstock. Are there any questions?
I don't have any, sir. Vice Chairman?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Appreciate
time.
the update very much. Thank you for taking the time to be here, too. All right. Is there any other public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve resolution number 26-824, granting the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Evans Kendall Post 8071, a 501c19 nonprofit, a sum not to exceed $12,000 for fiscal year 2026-2027 for the purpose of providing services to veterans and the Story County community.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for everybody that took time to come down today. Moving right along to item number 21, this is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval of resolution 26-826, setting the tax rate levy at 3.4607% for fiscal year 26 or 27. Comptroller McCain.
Good morning, Jennifer McCain for the record. This is more or less a housekeeping issue. The tax rate was set in a February meeting at 3.4607, with the county receiving 2.3960. This is approving the resolution that sets the tax levy for the fiscal year.
Thank you, Jennifer. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not, thank you.
Is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve resolution 26-826, setting the tax rate levy at 3.4607 for fiscal year 2026-2027.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Jennifer. On to item number 22. This is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval of the transfer of various funds within the Story County 25 through 26 budget pursuant to NRS 354.59800. The total amount of transfers is $679,400. $400,000, excuse me. Geez, $679,400. That was a rough one. With a net adjustment of $0 in the overall budget. Jennifer?
Good morning, Jennifer McCain for the record. As stated, NRS 354.59800 allows us to augment and amend the budget. As situations come up, things don't always come out as we planned a year and a half in advance. So this year we have no augmentations, just some transfers. We have transfers within a department, clerk treasurer's office. We're transferring $2,000 from record management into their wages section, which specifically is overtime, to account for some overtime that was necessary and unbudgeted. In community development, we are transferring from service and supplies, computer equipment, $1,000 into capital computer equipment to cover a slight increase of a large computer that they had to purchase out of, because of the cost we purchased it out of capital fund. We also have several transfers from contingency to general fund departments in the amount of $518,500. This contingency amount went to the administrative or HR department in the amount of $260,000 for settlements that were approved at various meetings by the board. The recorder's office needed $6,000 to increase their wages section of their budget. Community development needed $67,000, which is being allotted to general regular wages and overtime. Justice Court has an amount of $120,000, which is to cover an unforeseen judge contract. Health and Human, excuse me, has $3,500 allotted for wages and benefits, specifically health insurance. The Service Department has $35,000 for gas and diesel, and Comptroller's Office has $22,000 for unforeseen wages, and Emergency Management has $5,000 for unbudgeted overtime. We also have contingency going to special revenue funds in the amount of $157,900. Drug court will receive $300. Genetic marker testing, specifically chemical forensic, will receive $2,500. Indigent accident, $150,000. All three of those increases are directly related to increases in ad valorem and how the money is apportioned out to other entities. And in Piper's Opera House is $3,000 for wages and $2,100 for health insurance, so in the benefits section. And that's all I have for that, unless you have any questions for me.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't, thank you.
All right, is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the transfers within the 2025-2026 Story County budget in the amount of $679,400 with a net adjustment to the county budget of $0.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Moving right along to item number 23 is to recess to convene as the Story County Highway Board, bringing us to item number 24, which is discussion for possible action. Report of Public Works Department regarding roads and highways throughout Story County.
Morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Jason Worsbicky for the record. Just to update, most of you guys knew that we had a semi blow through some of our signs down in Lockwood last week. Took out the bridge guardrail. Just shy of 15 grand in repairs and things of that nature. Luckily, Sheriff's Office did a great job, tracked down the trucker, and we'll get that money recouped. Another thing, we're going to be having a bid opening for the Mark Twain Road project this Friday. So we have 6 primes that are claim holders on that one. It's pretty exciting. So that's about, well, another thing, it seems kind of trivial, but it's actually a very large deal up here on the hill for some reason, is speed bumps. So I'm proposing, and if you guys are good for that, anytime somebody request speed bumps, that we run it through the commission and let that decision be on you guys.
Passing the buck?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Every chance I get.
Fair enough. Understandable. It is a contentious topic. So appreciate the update.
For some reason it is, man. I don't get it.
Again, appreciate the update. Highway Commissioner Mitchell, questions, comments?
I would just say, Jason, I think we're okay considering those as long as they come with a staff recommendation on the exact location of the speed bump. I don't want to be picking on a map where they're supposed to go, so that seems to be
Understood.
the most contentious.
I'll make the agenda request very short, too.
Okay, all right. Very good. And then With some of the extra traffic that was coming through Lockwood, was there a thought to do some more signage around semis and
Ordered
some of that?
signage yesterday. We'll hopefully have it all installed by the end of next week, so
Very good.
we're just waiting on the signs to be made.
Appreciate that, thank you.
We duplicated the same signs that we installed down at the bottom of 6 Mile where it has the NRS statute on it also, so make it a little more easily enforceable.
Okay, great. And then are we gearing up for some summer road projects and things coming at us?
Yeah, that is the bid opening on Friday.
Okay,
And then we have a bunch of other smaller projects that we're currently working on also
excellent. Appreciate it, thank you.
in-house.
All right, I don't have any questions for you, Jason. Is there any public comment? All right. Appreciate the update, Jason. Thank you.
And just to be clear, we will accept those speed bump requests as the Board of Highway Commissioners, not as the Board of County Commissioners, right?
And we don't have emails for that, unfortunately.
Yep, no emails, yep.
We have the technology to do that.
No, thank you.
All right, on to item number 25 is to recess to convene as the Story County Water and Sewer Board, bringing us to item number 26, which is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of the transfers within the Story County Water and Sewer 25 through 26 budget pursuant to NRS 354.59800. The total amount of the transfers are $9,000 with a net adjustment of $0 in the overall budget. Comptroller McCain.
Jennifer McCain for the record. This is per NRS, as you stated, I lost it. 354-59800 allows us to augment or amend budgets when necessary, and we have found a need only within the water department to transfer $9,000 out of professional services, and $4,000 will go into wages, regular wages, $3,000 into overtime, and we have a need of $2,000 to be transferred to retiree insurance for a total of $9,000. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Vice Chairman Mitchell, questions, comments?
Good, thank you.
All right, is there any public comment regarding this item? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Water Sewer Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the transfer within the Story County Water and Sewer 2025-2026 budget pursuant to NRS 354.598. The total amount of transfers are $9,000 with a net adjustment of $0 in the overall budget.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
On to item number 27 is to recess to convene as the Story County Fire Protection District Board, bringing us to item number 28, which is the consent agenda. Fire Commissioner Mitchell, any questions or comments on today's consent?
No, I'm good, thank you.
All right, is there any public comment regarding the fire consent agenda? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve our consent agenda as presented.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 29. This is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of the transfers within the Story County Fire District 25 through 26 budget pursuant to NRS 354.59800. Total amount of the transfers are $5,400 with a net adjustment of $0 in the overall budget. Comptroller McCain.
Good morning, Jennifer McCain for the record. Per NRS 354.59800, we are allowed to augment or amend a budget as we see necessary. So I am seeking permission to transfer $5,400 out of the fire contingency account into fire grants for unbudgeted overtime at $4,000, and benefits would be PERS $300, workers' comp or PACT $1,000, and Medicare $100. This again is for fire grants, and a portion of this is a match, and portion of this is funded by the grant.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Fire Commissioner Mitchell, you have any questions or comments?
I do not, thank you.
All right, is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Fire Commissioner Mitchell, you prepared to make a motion?
I, Fire Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the transfers within the Story County Fire District 2025-2026 budget pursuant to NRS 354.598. The total amount of transfers are $5,400 with a net adjustment of $0 in the overall budget.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.
On to item number 30. This is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval to purchase the property adjacent to the existing fire station 72, located at 2998 Cartwright Road, APN 003-361-08, based upon appraisal dated March 25th, 2026 by Anthony J. Wren and Associates, including approval of opening escrow and completing title search not to exceed $135,000. Chief Reiser.
Bob Reiser, Fire Chief for the record. I previously requested authorization to meet with the school district to discuss the purchase of the property. We met, reviewed and created a real estate purchase agreement, ran that through the DA's office and also through the school district legal, and they agreed with that as presented. That's what I have brought back to you today, requesting authorization to sign and proceed with that real estate purchase.
All right, thank you, Chief. Fire Commissioner Mitchell, questions, comments?
No, thank you.
All right, is there any public comment regarding this item? Not seeing any. Fire Commissioner Mitchell, are you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Fire Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the presented offer to purchase the property adjacent to Fire Station 72 located at 2998 Cartwright Road, APN 003-361-08, based upon the appraisal dated March 25th, 2026 by Anthony J. Wren and Associates, including approval of opening escrow and completing title search with a total purchase cost not to exceed $135,000.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that. There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 31. This is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of a memorandum of understanding between Story County Fire Protection District and the Story County Firefighters Association Local 4227 as it pertains to Article 25 benefits insurance. Chief?
Excuse me, Bob Reiser again for the record. We've been working through updating our labor contract, which expires June 30th of this year, end of this month. And we have not completed the entire contract, but part of the agreement that we have received, tentative agreement between the labor group and the fire district, is on the transition to 100% dependent coverage. And due to the tax obligations, if we delay that until we have complete approval of the contract, it will create significant challenges for the comptroller's office as well as tax implications for all of the district members. So we are asking to have a separate MOU effective July 1st, which is the start of the contract cycle and the start of the insurance cycle. So we can then move to 100% dependent on that date. And then it would be adopted within the completed contract once we reach that point.
Anything else? No. All right. Fire Commissioner Mitchell, questions or comments?
No, thank you.
All right, is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Fire Commissioner Mitchell, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Fire Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Story County Firefighters Association Local 4227, outlining the change relevant to benefits in insurance dependent coverage, moving from 80% to 100% effective July 1st, 2026, to correspond with the start of the upcoming fiscal year.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Moving right along to item number 32 is to recess to reconvene as the Story County Board of County Commissioners, bringing us to item number 33, which is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of the final canvass of the results of the June 9th, 2026 primary election held in and for Story County. Treasurer Hindle, you going to be taking this? 1 second. All right. Morning.
move things around on the screens. Thank you, Commissioners. Jim Hindle, Story County Clerk and Treasurer. I'm here also with
Mark Allen,
who's Deputy Clerk and for elections, and also joining us today. Yeah.
Thank you.
So basically, as it portrays all our elections, elections are a team effort, and that's why the three of us are up here today. We want to see if I can get going on this. There we go. So today, with that, we want to go over, obviously, the results of the county races and the races in general. We want to go over a quick review of voting turnout and trends, which we've done through the last number of canvases we've gone through. And then the last part is to highlight kind of a new initiative we put on, is to expand and to make much more effective our public outreach to help people understand what's going on with elections, and especially this year with some changes in equipment. So as we go through that, you also have within your packet, and packet provided for the public, not just the presentation for today, but also the abstract of the vote, on which we are asking your approval to allow us to transmit to the Secretary of State, allowing Story County to close the primary election reporting cycle. And with that, you've got the abstract, you've got the election summary, and you have the statement of cast votes. So you've got the complete data packet there for the election, the primary election. Last but not least of this part, with the DAs staring at me and making sure I say this, their key takeaway is that there were no issues, no irregularities found in the way the primary election was conducted or in the results that are being reported to you. So as we look at that, first we want to just go over some basic information on who showed up. If we look at the group, we had 1,339 votes cast total in this primary election, and that is out of a registered voter base of 3,695. With that, of course, we have participation by nonpartisans, Republicans and Democrats. In addition to what you have in that chart there, in the packet under the abstract in section B, which is the election summary report, it basically shows that while only 10% of the vote is nonpartisan, basically 10% to 11% of nonpartisans participated in the election, in the primary election, whereas of the participation of registered Republicans, it was about 50% participation, and participation by the registered Democrats, again, is about 50%. However, as we look at this, the actual vote of the Democrat Party as a portion of the 1,339 of votes cast is only 22%, and Republicans represent, of the total votes cast, 67%. So as we get to, in order to focus our time today, you've got the information in the packet with all the races from the federal to statewide, state and local. However, we're going to concentrate on the contested races within the county specifically. The first one is for Commissioner District 2. In that race, we had 3 candidates, and we had a total of 837 votes cast, and the winner of that race was Debbie Ann Formentini. Debbie Ann will go on to be on the ballot in the general election in the fall. And at this time, there will be no opposition to Debbie Ann in the fall because there were no other party or nonpartisan candidates filed. Similarly, in the district attorney race, the other contested race that we had in countywide, For the Republican position on the ballot, we had a total of 851 votes cast, 2 candidates, and Melanie Brantingham was the winner of that race. And Melanie will also go forward to the general ballot in the fall. She will be unopposed. We did have a candidate file as a nonpartisan. However, that candidate did not fulfill the submission of their signature petition in order to get on the ballot, and therefore Melanie Brantingham will be the only candidate on the ballot in the fall for district attorney. The uncontested contests in the county for sheriff, Sheriff Michael Cullen obviously went through, and it's a little bit different with nonpartisan races from partisan races. Partisan races are where the parties basically choose who goes forward to the general ballot. In nonpartisan races, if they are uncontested, then this race is now concluded and will not appear on the November ballot. So Michael Cullen is reelected as sheriff of Story County. We also had 3 school board seats that were up for reelection that were uncontested. And in seat 1C, Charlie Seaton will be in that seat, will retain his seat. In seat 2A, Candace Pitts will retain her seat. And in seat 2B, Desiree Seeley will retain her seat for the next 4-year term. All the results of what we talked about here in more detail is provided on the county website, and that also includes the Story County result for all races that were on the ballot in Story County. And then if people want to see, especially for the statewide races, federal statewide, those results are also linked from the county website to the Secretary of State's Silver State Election website, which gives overall results across the statewide races as well as county races for the whole state. Hand it over to...
Okay, thank you, Jim. Prior to the primary election, we sent out our NVRA notices as part of our voter roll maintenance to make sure we had accurate voter records. Of those, we inactivated 70 voters and then canceled 228 for the failure to vote in the 2 federal elections. But as you can see, the trend for the primary elections pretty much stayed the same. We're just a little bit below previous elections. And then the voting trends, it's important to note that by mail ballot trend has eroded the early voting turnout, and the clerk's organization across the state is working with the Secretary of State's office to highlight to the state legislator. And while the vote by mail has increased in popularity, the voter turnout hasn't increased, I should say. So, and then for the primary, we had 146 undeliverable mail ballots, which I will start sending out those NVRA notices prior to the 1 July blackout date to clean up our voter rolls prior to the general election in November.
Good morning, Commissioners. Julia Moreno-Fritz, PIO for the record. So I would like to briefly share the public information and outreach efforts conducted for the 2026 primary election. So this was the first election in which Story County had a dedicated PIO coordinating election communications and voter outreach efforts. And my goal this year was to ensure that voters had access to timely, accurate, and consistent information throughout the whole election process. So between March and June, Story County issued 8 election-related press releases and more than 25 social media posts. We also maintained election information on the county website and worked closely with local and regional media outlets to help distribute important voting information. So while engagement on election-related social media posts was relatively low, with few comments or direct questions received, this is generally consistent with government election communications. And election information tends to be more informational than conversational, so low engagement does not necessarily indicate low visibility. Many residents consume information without liking, sharing, or commenting on posts on social media. And rather than focusing solely on social media engagement metrics, I believe the more meaningful measure is the consistency and reach of our outreach efforts. This election cycle, we maintained a steady flow of information across multiple communication channels to ensure voters had repeated opportunities to access important election updates, deadlines, voting information, and election notices. The Comstock Chronicle notably published election information on a weekly basis from April through June, and we received coverage from Colo, KTVN, and News 4. Several media outlets also utilized information provided through our press releases, helping extend the reach of election information beyond county-owned platforms. I would also like to note that the purpose of these communication efforts is not necessarily to drive social media engagement, but to ensure that residents know where to find reliable election information and understand important deadlines and procedures. Success is measured by making accurate information readily available across multiple platforms and reducing barriers to voter access. Overall, I believe we achieved broader public outreach and greater media visibility than previous election cycles, helping ensure that voters had access to timely and accurate information throughout the whole process. Looking ahead to the November general election, I will be applying lessons that I learned from this cycle to further streamline communication efforts, expand voter education opportunities, explore additional video and visual content, and begin outreach earlier to maximize public awareness before key election deadlines. Thank you for your time, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much.
I think Julia's activity with us was very important, and I congratulate her and also Mark, working with the team leaders that were at the poll sites for Election Day, early voting Election Day. With the new equipment, we had very little questions, very little confusion, very little resistance to the change. And we all know, especially with voting, when things change, people become a little bit more questioning. And it all went very smoothly, and I think that, again, is a testament to the teamwork that went on. I also want to thank the other members of the Clerk Treasurer's office who really pitched in, helped us with both execution of the election as well as keeping the office open. Michelle Moorhead, Dory Fate, and Alicia Duke. And I can't thank enough the poll workers. One of the basic ways that we put integrity in our elections is by having the community run the election with their neighbors. And that really is a testament to the dedication of the people in Story County. And they did a great job, especially with a new process that we put in. And couldn't, again, it is a team effort, couldn't have done it without support from the Commissioner's Office, County Manager for vehicles, reservation of facilities, the fire department, everybody as listed here, sheriff and deputies, making sure that we were safe on site as well as in transport. It all just worked very well, and we look forward to further improvement and working for the November general.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. Vice Chairman, questions, comments?
No questions. Thank you. It's well done winning the election.
I'm sure as you dive more into the data, Clay, you'll be calling.
Oh, I probably will.
Yeah, thank you, Mark, Jim, Julia, and everybody else involved. Much appreciated.
So basically what we're asking then today is for the approval of the information that's been presented to send, for me to send the abstract over to the Secretary of State.
Noted, thank you. Is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the final canvass of the June 9th, 2026 primary election held in and for Story County, and that the county clerk make a copy of the abstract and make a mechanical report of the abstract to the Secretary of State.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Moving right along to item number 34. This is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval of a revised interlocal agreement between Story County and the Nevada Secretary of State setting the terms and conditions and annual fees for Story County's use of the newly developed implemented voter registration and election management system. Jim?
We're right back.
All right.
Jim Hindle, Clerk and Treasurer, Story County. Commissioners, this one is pretty straightforward and simple. You have already approved the bulk of this memorandum of this interlocal a year ago. However, as you see in the packet, the Secretary of State did not accept that because there were other counties that questioned the fee that they were being assessed for the new VREM system. The bottom line is that our fee basically was cut almost in half As a result of that, the bulk of the interlocal stayed the same. It was just a change in fees, and so I would recommend that you approve my signing of this interlocal with the Secretary of State for a lower fee than what was budgeted.
All right, thank you, Jim. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not, thank you.
All right, how about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the county clerk and treasurer to sign the revised interlocal contract with the Nevada Secretary of State for use of the new VREM system at a cost not to exceed $2,500 in the 2026-2027 fiscal year.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. On number 35, discussion for possible action. Possible acceptance of an architectural and engineering design contract with Dubay Group Architecture in the amount not to exceed $150,665 to design and administer the P5-16 TRI Sheriff's Office McCarran Substation Remodel Project. Kevin?
Good morning, gentlemen. Kevin Selstrom for the record. This is a request for architectural design for the Story County Office Complex at 1705 Peru Drive. That building was initially built, the shell was built to accommodate public safety and mission critical operations. The insides were never fully developed out. Pieces have been done over the years, and this is our opportunity to turn the portion that the Sheriff's Office uses into a proper sheriff substation. That project will be funded through, in part by USDA Rural Development Grant and remainder in budgeted county funds. We're planning tenant improvements to make the office accessible to public, including public lobbies and reception areas, interview spaces, workspaces, and all the things that go into serving the sheriff's office, including the possibility or likelihood of holding cells out there to allow them to better serve and keep the public safer. The county staff conducted a competitive RFQ process in the fall that resulted in the selection of Dubay Group Architecture as the most qualified firm to do this task. We have since negotiated that proposal with them that's in front of you today. They will serve as the prime consultant and coordinate the structural, mechanical, electrical, and all of the various engineering services required to turn this project into reality. The proposal is for a fixed fee of $150,665 with additional reimbursable expenses up to $2,500. This has been approved by the USDA, the design proposal, has been approved by the USDA, and of course, we would request your acceptance of the proposal.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't have any questions, thank you.
Is there any public comment regarding this item? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the architectural and engineering design contract with Dubay Group Architecture in the amount not to exceed $150,665 to design and administer the P5-16 TRI Sheriff's Office McCarran Substation Remodel Project and to authorize the county manager to sign the contract.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Moving on to item number 36, this discussion for possible action. Discussion and possible direction for Story County to attend consumer sessions, provide written comment, and or to petition to intervene formally in NV Energy's 2026 Joint Triennial Integrated Resource Plan and 2027 through 29 Energy Supply Plan submitted to the Nevada Public Utilities Commission in 2026. Who's going to take this, Clay or Austin?
This one's for Commissioner Mitchell.
All right. Vice Chairman, all you.
Sure, thank you. So, so just to review quickly kind of how we got here, and then I may invite Will Adler to give us some context. He's been following pretty closely what's happening with this process. So typically the energy utility files, every 3 years files an integrated resource plan which guides their operations, projects, and rate setting. Because of the rapid change in the amount of demand and the landscape, energy landscape in Nevada, they are filing this 3-year plan after only 2 years of the previous plan have gone through. So there was a need to update, and it's a lengthy document, it's a complex document, and much of the reasoning for needing to update it has to do with demand that's being generated in our county. And so as a result, I've asked that we and the board accepted direction to monitor and engage. And now we're at kind of a critical juncture where we can decide at what level we want to engage in the formal process with this plan. There is a deadline tomorrow if we wanted to be formally involved as in the role of intervening into the plan. That's I guess you probably call that a quasi-judicial or a kind of a legal process where we would, if we had concerns or objections, we would state them, and then we would be fully involved in making those arguments, bringing expert witnesses, legal representation, discovery, kind of the whole process that the PUC goes through with that. If we don't feel that that's the level of involvement that's appropriate for us as a county, and it's not typical for a local jurisdiction to get involved at that level, we certainly, and actually County Manager Osborne and I met with some of the PUC staff just for an informational meeting to kind of understand how they operate a little better. And not on this particular item, but they kind of issued an open invitation for the county to issue comment and submit to them comments on our positions or observations or preferences, impacts on docket items that are in front of them. And so that's another way that we could engage beyond just monitoring and discussing among ourselves. So that's kind of the decision that we need to make today is going forward, what level of involvement do we want to have in this process? And with that, maybe I'll turn it over to Will Adler from Silver State Government Relations to give us some of his thoughts and orientation on that process.
All right. Thank you. Will.
Thank you, Chairman Mitchell, and
oh, did you just demote me?
Chair Carmona, and then
there you go.
Chairman Mitchell. Hopefully you can hear me there. I wish I was in person, but I had my flight canceled, so I'm still in the Midwest, and I'll be joining you by Zoom today. I apologize. So hopefully you can hear me pretty well, but as you know, Commissioner Mitchell did say, there's kind of a lot of layers to the cake here. For one, this is a regular process that goes forward-looking, but doesn't announce itself every 3 years. The IRP process that sort of plans out the forward projection of power for the whole state of Nevada. There's actually two grids. There's the Nevada Power Grid, which is in Southern Nevada, and the Sierra Pacific Grid, which is us in North Nevada. This is the Sierra Pacific Grid's largest IRP filing. It had 42 different tones and paper filed into it, with a lot of new details and sort of new mechanisms introduced by NV Energy because they have the job of processing the whole power projection forward. This is sort of to do a snapshot of the immediate 3 years to fit into a 20-year package, right? So this is kind of the public proceeding to tell people where power is headed in the state of Nevada. So today and now, that process is kind of underfoot or underway. And as the Commissioner declared, there's a couple layers of interjection or intervening you can formally do. As a receiver of power and as a county in the state, you're actually part of this process, be it silently or directly. But as the Commissioner correctly said, the park in particular, the Top Arena Industrial Park and the mass power users in it, the current ones like Tesla today are kind of mid-bench, but the larger ones like data centers coming, will sort of proceed to change the IRP going forward. Today and now there's a new proceeding being debated or actually introduced by NV Energy that we could just say would front end the power production costs to those using the power the most, would get the cost and then some. We're seeing many of the businesses inside the county actually have participated by having those direct interventions and sort of stating they don't agree with certain plans as they were written and produced in this IRP. The county itself, I think, has a job to be aware of this and know that this is happening. But as stated, the actual facts on the ground or what's written in that package is a very and sort of coming up with a reason why the county, is cautious to this. It's quite easy, in fact. The IRP is stating there will be less power produced than the current demand curve just seen in the Tom Marino Industrial Park today. So that as a whole would raise a concern of mine that the further production of businesses in the park could be, if not, stymied, could be lessened by the current power portfolio we're seeing introduced for the next 3 years. As such, it is one where I do think a letter of comment would be astute and kind of an appropriate position to take, because the county can sort of state that, writ large, you have your own view of what's going on the ground. This IRP does not have an explicit Story County focus to it. It is a Sierra Pacific grid of the whole North Nevada window, all in one chunk. The commenters are varied. Some are on a very negative end of what is seen in the IRP. Some just want a modest change to it. But somewhere in that range is sort of the general awareness or concern the county can vent, publicly through a letter that says, we too want to be, included in this process. As you said, the QC commissioners have come to the county to receive some of your intel directly. You can also just sort of, publicly display that with a letter. And I think that is kind of the most appropriate venue or sort of interjection in this venue is a letter to say, what we're seeing today is what you're seeing. Maybe unprecedented growth. Maybe, demand on the land in the park is going faster than we thought it would be. These kind of perspectives are actually very helpful, because the IRP produced by Ag Energy is actually rated by, what is actually the governor's staff or the statewide staff of the Public Utilities Commission. They're assigned to help out, the county, the whole view of the state, and, assess this 20-year, view and this 3-year chunk that's being, brought to them right now. And is this kind of the facts on the ground? Is this lining up with what the counties like yourselves are seeing on the demand curve? Those questions are asked of people like me all the time. But I do think some clarity from the county's point of view and just a letter introducing that sort of perspective of your own can actually be quite helpful to the PUC as a whole, or sort of the state perspective as a whole, because you guys, see it in real time. Other people kind of wait to see it in the news. So that's where I do think this has landed as, a direct intersection from the county. Could say we demand more power in this IRP, but really we don't know. This is a bigger picture, bigger than just the county, but we could, provide our own intel with our own letter, and I think that would be a very useful and impactful even decision to make, because there's a lot of questions out there that you see in the rest of the state, and you guys actually have a better perspective than probably anybody on the Sierra Pacific grid of what's in here and what's growing here. This is kind of the summary of it. I'm here to answer any questions and or clarify any of the 3-letter adjectives I just used as I tried to use all of them after explaining them. But let me know if there's anything else I could explain.
Thank you very much, Will. Appreciate it. I personally don't have any questions at this time. I'm not against the idea whatsoever. Is there anything you wanted to add before I go to public comment?
Yeah, I'll just add a couple of kind of context things as we think about potentially taking an action here. And the first one is, if we were to consider intervening in a formal manner, that would require a pretty significant amount of resources from the county, likely looking at engaging power-specific legal support. It's a lot, and likely would strain the current resources that we have, possibly require other resources if we were to go that way, whereas a comment allows us to make our voices heard, but not necessarily to engage as heavily. As I see it, there are several compelling interests for us to at least make our position known. And the first one is to advocate for the protection of current ratepayers, to make sure that cost from new development does not fall back on current ratepayers. I think that's at the top of everyone's list. Secondly, I think we probably have a compelling interest in advocating for a scheme going forward in the IRP that enables NV Energy to bring new generation online and adapt and demand and to react to the demand that's being put in place, and so supporting them in having the ability to do that. The third thing is, I think it's important for us to advocate for flexibility for our users, particularly large load users, in how and where they acquire or generate power, so that they're not pigeonholed into a system that doesn't allow them to move their projects forward, that's overly regulatory, that somehow kind of slows down or gets in the way of them if they're willing to look at alternatives to just hooking up to the grid, making sure they have that ability and advocating for that. And then finally, if the utility is seeking to shift future capital risks onto these large load users, to advocate for that being done appropriately and in a balanced way, so that it's not, the risk is not all being put on the backs of these users of energy, but there's an appropriate balance there. So for me, those are the big issues. I think that I mentioned those because those come to the top of mind, and if we were to make comment, I think those are the areas, as well as others that our team comes up with, probably are the major things that we would want to comment on. So.
Okay. Yeah, the idea of commenting, I think, before reaching out for additional resources is definitely something I can get behind.
Yeah, well, and to be clear, the window closes tomorrow if we do want to do the more formal process. That doesn't mean we have to have all our ducks in a row, but if we wanted to intervene, we would have to reserve the right to do so by the hearing tomorrow. And so that's kind of our deadline. If we're not leaning that direction, we can submit comment at a later date. The process will continue for a matter of weeks or months at least.
You've got the most information on this. Where are you at? Do we need to speak up before tomorrow?
I think commenting is probably appropriate. I don't know if it makes sense for us to write a fairly brief letter by tomorrow, letting people know that letting the PUC know that we're not intervening, but that we're interested. Because tomorrow is kind of a key hearing or deadline, it may make sense to just make our presence felt. And even if we don't have all of our comments that we'd like to submit, letting them know that we considered intervening, that we won't be taking that role, but that we are fully engaged.
Okay.
And I think if that's not beyond the capacity of our team, I think that would not be a bad idea.
And when does this opportunity arise again? In 3 years?
Correct. If we wanted to intervene directly. Now, again, this is a bit of an anomaly because it's a 3-year plan, but they are coming back. NV Energy is doing it on a 2-year cycle this time because things changed so dramatically. They basically said our last 3-year doesn't reflect reality on the ground. We're coming back with a new 3-year plan about a year early.
But my point is, if we choose not to intervene now, we can then intervene again in 3 years.
Yeah, we can intervene on any docket that comes before the PUC, and I'll let Will explain. He's been in the weeds on this, but.
Will?
Commissioner, so as NV Energy has the entirety of the state portfolio, Will Adler for the rest of the Silverstone Government Relations, your representative, but they submit this docket for both the north and the south. The Sierra Pacific grid is the one that has new language or sort of has this, intervenable clauses that many of the businesses are going to debate. To be clear, the IRP is submitted by the utility, and then the state structure is the Public Utilities Commission has to, rate the IRP or sort of declare what they agree with or do not agree with, and they can reject pieces of it and or take it in its entirety. So we're in this moment of first engagement where the IRP has been sent to the PUC. They've yet to make any final decisions on what is the final language in there, what new mechanisms will be indoctrinated into, regulatory codes, which will make them, power law in the state of Nevada. So we're at this moment where the PUC is yet to actually do a final judgment on the written IRP submitted. So this first comment, as well as some of the intervening language, is to sort of address what might not be preferred in the submitted IRP by the utility today. Our comment letter can come in at kind of any time, actually, because it's not stuck on the firm mandate of submit by tomorrow to be in the formal intercessions or sort of legal terms we're trying to change in the IRP. We're just generally commenting on the whole IRP process, but that letter can kind of land at any time in this process and be weighed by the Public Utility Commission, their staff, and everyone else on the state side, as
think it does. Thank you, Will. Do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay. Is there any public comment on this item? All right, not seeing any. Do you have a motion prepared?
Yeah, I think so.
You want to run it by him? Or you just want to, you want to entertain a motion and I'll either yea or nay it after
Yeah.
what I hear?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's spitball. Let's just
do it.
Shoot from the hip.
Works for me.
I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to direct that Story County attend consumer sessions and provide written comment in NV Energy's 2026 Joint Triennial Integrated Resource Plan, or IRP, and 2027 through 2029 Energy Supply Plan submitted to the Nevada Public Utilities Commission in 2026, and that those comments treat the areas mentioned on the record.
That works. There's a motion on the floor. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Vice Chairman. Thank you, Will. Appreciate it. Safe flight back.
Thank you all, and I will assist in any drafting letters or make sure you know exactly what these dates are and keep the county up to speed. We track this every day. So thank you for having me, and I'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Will. Moving on to item number 37, this is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval to obtain a boundary survey from Loomis and Associates on all subject parcels around the proposed Gold Hill Depot area park at an amount not to exceed $24,900, which with includes the following APN 002-063-20 -22, -24, -26, and -27. Lisa?
Good morning, Lisa Massell for the record. The title in the motion should also include APN 002-063-25. That one was inadvertently left out. This boundary survey is basically coming about because the parcel or two parcels that are on the north side, which includes 002-06320 and 06, which was at one point in time one parcel, and then it was split, giving each owner 50% of the parcel, but there was no boundary map that said which side. So one of them is essentially a floating parcel. And so this is part of the Gold Hill properties that we have in escrow that we're looking to get a park for. And so when we've been working with the Park Service, the question came in about that railroad parcel, because if they do approve this, they're going to put covenants on the property, and we want to ensure that that parcel owned by the railway is not, you know, encumbered by those covenants. So I've been in contact with Joe Curtis and Tom Graham, both of these parcels, and they're in favor of this. And so we're just going to go ahead and do all the parcels so that when approval comes through for the park, we already have that information, and then we can go ahead and do a boundary map and a parcel that delineates those boundaries appropriately.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Vice Chairman, questions, comments?
No, thank you. Indeterminate boundaries are fun. I was going to make a disclosure that I have PTSD as a victim of indeterminate boundaries on a parcel as well, but I don't think that influences my ability to make a fair decision on this.
All right. You sure?
It's traumatic, we'll put it that way.
All right. Nobody likes insufficient boundaries. Public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve accepting Loomis and Associates to complete a boundary survey on all the subject parcels around the proposed Gold Hill Depot area park at an amount not to exceed $24,900, which includes the following APNs: 002-063, parcels 20, 22, 24, 25, 26, and 27.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 38, discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval accepting Tony Wren as a qualified appraiser from the list of Story County appraisers to provide an appraisal for parcel number 004-291-27 located in Mark Twain at 954 Sutro Springs Road at a cost not to exceed $3,500. County Manager?
Thank you, Commissioners. Austin Osborne for the record. I'm going to cover kind of the kickoff of this, and I'm going to pass it over to Lisa, who's been working on the project. As you're aware, Kathy Canfield, our planning director, and her team for the last 5, 6, 7 years have been working with the Carson Water Subconservancy District on potential flood mitigation, and with the JUB study, they have recommendations and findings for flood mitigation throughout Mark Twain Estates and the Mark Twain area. Implementation of the plan has always been subject to acquiring rights and properties and easements and other things needed to put in detention basins for upstream, as well as channeling and flows throughout the community. Around the last few months here, the owner of a large parcel upstream of the Mark Twain Estates and the owner of another parcel in the same region have come to us and expressed some interest in potentially working with the county to acquire the property or sell the property to the county or a portion of it, and it happens to be ideally suited in an area for major upstream detention as well as some other improvements that would relate to floodway. So we engaged in a conversation. It got more interesting. Kathy, our Director Canfield, is aware of this, and we're coordinating with them with potential options here. This might be an opportunity for us to actually start doing what we've been talking about for the last decade in that community. So at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Lisa. She's been handling some of the mechanics of this, and I'll be here to answer any technical questions in the flood detention area or the project as necessary. Thank you, Lisa.
Good morning, Lisa Missel for the record. So as Austin said, this is going to be used for a drainage parcel. We've been in contact with the property owner who is also in favor of this. We have selected Tony Wren as the next appraiser in line to complete an appraisal for the county for $3,500 on this parcel.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't, thank you.
Is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve accepting property appraiser Tony Wren as a qualified appraiser from the list of Story County appraisers to provide an appraisal of parcel 004-291-27 at a cost not to exceed $3,500.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 39. This is discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval accepting Tony Wren as a qualified appraiser from the list of Story County appraisers to provide an appraisal for the south half and the southeast quarter of parcel 004-291-20 in Mark Twain, located in section 19, township 17N, range 22E at a cost not to exceed $5,500. Lisa?
I'm going to go ahead and kick this off, Commissioner. Austin Osborne for the record. Even though I stated this at the last one, I think it's important to put it on the record for both of the parcels. So we're requesting to you as part of the flood projects drainage master plan. It's actually the Dayton Valley Area Drainage Master Plan that Director Canfield and her team with the Carson Water Subconservancy have put together for the Mark Twain Estates, that we would explore a potential purchase of the property described in front of you here, or a portion of this property. Lisa will explain that. And we have been reached to by the property owner as a potential engagement with that property owner to purchase or acquire this property for the purpose of upstream flood detention, helping the Mark Twain Estates. I will clarify, and then Lisa will take it from there, is that the appraisal would engage either all of the parcel or a half of the parcel or a quarter of the parcel. At this point, I'm going to pass it over. Thank you, Lisa.
Good morning, Lisa Missel for the record. Again, this is another appraisal that we are requesting for Tony Wren to complete, and the reason why we were selecting him on this one and the last one is to keep it consistent for the same purposes, to determine market value. It is for, one correction, for the south half of the entire parcel, which is approximately 314 acres, or the southeast quarter at 157 acres. So Tony Wren will go through and he will determine a value for each side so that we can then determine how the county would like to proceed with direction after the fact.
All right, thank you for that. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not.
Is there any public comment regarding this item? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve accepting property appraiser Tony Wren as a qualified appraiser for the list of Story County appraisers to provide an appraisal of the south half and the southeast quarter of parcel 004-291-20 at a cost not to exceed $5,500.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Lisa. Moving on to item number 40, this is discussion for possible action. Discussion and possible consideration to hold a special joint meeting of the Story County Board of County Commissioners and the Washoe County Regional Transportation Commissioners at the RTC Washoe Board meeting. Austin.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Austin Osborne, County Manager. For the record, as this board is aware, we've been engaged with the Washoe RTC on various projects of the region, including, for example, the Northeast Connector Project. Others that were engaged with them in one way or another include the rail transit study, the I-80 widening project with NDOT taking lead, most recently the Patrick Interchange extension. We're not really working with the RTC on that. We've noticed them, but it's part of the overall transportation program for the region. The director of RTC and I have been discussing this extensively, and the director has offered an opportunity for this county commission and the Washoe RTC board to have a joint meeting so that you all can have a full open discussion about this and other projects affecting the I-80 corridor, Tri-Center, and Reno, Sparks, Washoe, and Story County. I think it's a great opportunity. We have been trying real hard between their board and our board to try to coordinate a meeting. The meeting would typically take place on an RTC Friday's normal general board meeting. What's in front of you are a couple dates. Subject to the Deputy District Attorney Brown allowing this to occur, I would propose a potential third date that would allow the director and I to try to schedule this between our two boards. One would be July 17, likely not to happen, but it would be an option. August 21, potential, and September 18, potentially. One of those dates to occur. We would then work with the Clerk and Treasurer's Office to notice appropriately and do all the necessary legal requirements for that.
Okay.
Deputy DA Brown, did I miss anything or anything that you feel is important for this?
No, and you covered the item sufficiently, and the item is written broad enough that the board can consider alternate dates in addition to July 17th or August 21st.
All right, thank you. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
Is there a need for us to set a date specific, or can we name those three dates and then say, or other dates as may be decided on, or?
You would have that flexibility at this meeting to do that.
Okay.
So, Director Brown, the board could say these three dates or any other day that we find is appropriate, and as long as we do all the notifications accordingly.
That would be correct.
Okay,
You don't
thank
have
you
to
very
keep
much.
coming back and putting every date on here. Once you have a date, that's what you're trying to do, you can then come back and get that date notified and put out in all the notices.
And not have to go through this entire process.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
But yeah, I think it's a great idea. I have reservations about us being involved in RTC in a formal capacity, but I think that a joint meeting is an excellent opportunity for us to discuss and talk through possible solutions for transportation issues.
All right. Is there any public comment on this item?
And Chairman, I'd like to add,
Sure.
with that, Austin Osborne for the record, so the formal meeting that we would be having with the RTC would be a non-action meeting only. If there were to be action such as an item that both jurisdictions want to do, then my understanding from direction from Deputy DA Brown is that one, their board would then recess, convene, have that action, vote on it, and then adjourn, and then our board at that same area would do the same. So there would be like 3 separate meetings if that were to occur. Otherwise, it'd just be discussion only.
All right. Did already ask for public comment? No public comment on this item? Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to hold a special joint meeting with the RTC Washoe Board as described in the agenda on one of the dates shown, as well as possibly September 18th or any other day that can be properly noticed and works for both bodies, as agreed to by the county manager and RTC Washoe.
There's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Brian. All right, we're going to go ahead and revisit item number 8, which is staff reports. We're going to kick things off at the Sheriff's Office today.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
may I just have you remind everybody that we are up against the deadline for district court, so if they can be brief and direct, would be good.
All right, I'm hungry. Keep it short. No pressure, Sheriff.
All right, sorry, I'm not going to be able to do that right now. I do have an announcement, and then I have some statistics I'd like to give to you guys, and there's a reason for the statistics I'll explain in a minute. The announcement is that our administrative assistant assigned to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Complex substation out at Tribe, Melissa Shipman, passed away last Saturday before last in an off-road vehicle crash out in Lyon County. Melissa was a very kind and caring soul. She enjoyed working with the Sheriff's Office, and she enjoyed working for Story County. She was an extreme pleasure to work with as well. And she'd only been with us since November of 2024. Her family's going to hold a celebration of life here in Virginia City, specifically because she loved this city so much. She was always up here. Please watch out for that announcement if anybody would like to join in. We were very sad at the Sheriff's Office. It was pretty devastating to get the news. And if anybody has condolences or knew Melissa and like to speak to the family, just contact the Sheriff's Office and we'll be more than happy to help out with that. So, with that in mind,
Thank you, Sheriff.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about her a little bit. It's just sad. I was speaking with Commissioner Gilman, for the last couple months. And then last week we were talking about some things. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bring some statistics or some information regarding the USA Parkway specifically to the commission, either in staff reports or an agenda item if need be at different times. But some of the stats I wanted to run by you guys this morning are very interesting. Specific to the USA Parkway, in 2022 we had 4,673 calls for service out there. There were 60 arrests. We combined the misdemeanor and felony arrest to one. It was just easier to do that. So that was 2022. In 2023, they went up to 5,993 calls and 74 arrests. In 2024, we went up to 7,410 calls for service with 130 arrests, almost doubling that year. In 2025, we had 11,549 calls for service with 294 arrests in the Parkway. Year to date, this year so far, we've had 5,770 calls for service with 193 arrests. So we're looking to again raise up in calls for service and arrests in the Parkway. Some interesting stats here also from dispatch. Now this is a fiscal year stat that came out, and it's important to know that, but it's also interesting how these numbers are trending. From dispatch, they're indicating in 2022, 20,000 incidents out in the Parkway. In 23, about 18,000. In 24, 19,000. And in 25, 26,000 incidents. Those numbers are relatively close, except for the 2025, the incidents have gone up. And again, that's a fiscal year incident number. Here's the interesting part. 911 calls for service, emergency calls for service in the Parkway from 2022 were 4,100. 2023, they went up slightly to 4,600. I'm just rounding off here. In 2024, they dropped to 3,630, and then in 2025 fiscal year, Our 911 emergency calls dropped to 3,246 calls. That trend shows us that there's less emergencies. There's still stuff going on, but we're getting a little bit of a handle on some of the emergency situations out there. Dispatch in that time period handled about the same number, around 30,000 calls for service during that fiscal year coming into the dispatch center. So that's some numbers out of dispatch, and I can answer some questions on those if you have questions in a minute. Also, another stat that came in while I was sitting here, we started a pretrial supervision program with the courts last July of 2025. We had 137 people immediately on that pretrial supervision. And pretrial supervision is basically people that are released on their own recognizance or on bail conditions from the court. We had 137 people. As of June 2026, we have 332 people on that list. Out of those numbers, 90% of those people, now this is not just USA Parkway, this is countywide, but those numbers are 90% basically out of county residents or people from outside the county. So just some quick numbers, and I'll take any questions you might have regarding those stats. And I can also provide these if you need them on email or something.
Thank you, Sheriff. I'd say since Commissioner Gilman's not here, we'll probably shoot him an email just so he,
yeah,
need one of those. Thank you for that update. Vice Chairman, did you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, interesting statistics. Is the, if I remember correctly, the agreement that we have with Tesla for the second Gigafactory involved them helping to pay for an additional beat out there. Can you just comment on how if that's been helpful in responding to the increased numbers and what kind of put that in context?
Sure. Yes, of course it's been helpful. When we started this with Tesla, we had basically one deputy, maybe two at a time at the north end of the county, handling calls, expecting or relying on assistance from outside the county. Since we've instituted that government services agreement, we've been able to get 7 deputies on patrol out there, fully outfitted, which basically gave us 1.5 extra people, almost 1.5 extra people out there. So it put 2 people on the parkway. Two people are going to find more crime or be able to respond to more crime. So it's definitely been helpful in curbing some of that crime. And hopefully it's been helpful in curbing some of the emergency calls coming in as well.
Yeah, I find the reduction in emergency calls really interesting, right? Because it doesn't mirror the other statistics. And curious about, I haven't fully processed that. Curious if you have a take on if there's alignment or a proportionality in the increase in the construction activity and the extra workers that brings in, which is a little more transient, it's not as stable as permanent workers, and how that relates to the amount of activity out in the park.
You know, I can kind of guess on some of that. The number of workers obviously bring more people, more traffic, more things in. I'd like to think that we are out there, we're more active, we have less emergency type situations going on where we have more routine situations, more routine traffic stops rather than more emergency circumstances. I guess that'd be the best way to put it. I think slowly the sheriff's office is catching up with the growing population out there, and the numbers are showing that we have such a growing population. I think that it's going to continue to grow for a while, and I think we need to stay ahead of it the best we can.
Yeah, great, thank you.
I don't have any extra questions for you at this time, Sheriff.
Okay.
Appreciate the update.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Fire Protection District?
Nothing to report.
Public Works? The only project manager left in the courtroom?
Quick one if you'd like it.
Come on down. No problem.
Kevin Selstrom again for the record. My first time getting you guys a proper update, but there's a few things going on that I wanted you guys to be aware of out there. Obviously, we heard about the sheriff's substation out at Tri earlier. We're going to try and see if we can help build a facility that will serve the sheriff's department's needs out there. You guys have probably seen Piper's is a little boarded up at the moment at the corner bar, and that project is actually going well, going really well, contrary to what it might look with the plywood. But Raymond Brothers Construction is taking all of those historic doors apart, and they'll be starting windows here pretty soon, piece by piece, putting them back together so they're going to be like brand new. We're hoping to see the first round of doors in place in the next couple of weeks, if all goes well. They have, it's a bit of an oxymoron, they have found the unexpected surprises they expected to find, but they're working through them and doing a beautiful job with that. And then the big one that I wanted you guys to be aware of, the Justice Center project is, believe it or not, actually moving forward. Today, 1 o'clock here, so in just a little bit, we will close a request for qualifications from architect firms to help us design that project and get that kicked off the ground. We had approximately 25 firms from across the country expressed interest. We don't expect to see that many proposals or statements of qualification. Some of them are probably subcontractors and consultants and such. But we've already had a fairly good group that have turned in their information. We'll be reviewing those this afternoon and over the coming week with a team of 5 county staff. And just so that you guys are aware, if anyone asks questions, that process looks not like a low bid process. That process is actually an interview similar to what you would do for an employee. We're going to be looking at their qualifications, doing in-person interviews for the top scorers in there, and really picking the team that fits us the best and provides us the best quality of product at the end of the project. So again, low bid sometimes gets you what you want. In other cases, in this case, we really want to do it right the first time. We are anticipating a schedule to get it done as quick as possible. We've heard loud and clear from all of our stakeholders that they needed this yesterday, and we're going to try and move it as quickly as we can, knowing that it's a huge project, but also being thoughtful and mindful to something that's going to provide the best quality for us and serve us well into the future. We are anticipating on that timeline being able to come back to you guys hopefully in August with a proposal from whichever firm gets selected and be able to get that thing kicked off. They're anticipating approximately a year, year and a half design time, hopefully closer to a year, and then kick off construction soon after that. And we're hoping to have it done before the sheriff retires, so he gets a nice new office to move into, at least for a little while.
All right.
There's the high points.
Okay.
Any questions?
So talking about the Justice Center, is that, have we decided, is that going to be a CMAR project?
Yes, it will.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions?
I don't, thank you.
All right, appreciate the update.
You bet.
Business Development Director. Laura Mather. Grants Manager. Yeah, huh? I see Facebook in the reflection of your sunglasses. Admin Officer. All right. Emergency Manager. BCTC.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Todd Tuttle, Director of Tourism. For the record, just want to report on the Scottish Games that was held at the fairgrounds last week. A beautiful turnout and an expansion to some of our programs that we'll be doing here. We'd like to see this become an annual event. The Jeep Posse also held their annual event, which had a nice turnout, along with St. Mary's Art Fair down at St. Mary's Art Center. Had a phenomenal turnout to make it all happen. So keeping the shuttle operating and moving them from place to place worked out quite well this weekend. I want to remind you of the 4th of July coming up. On the 4th of July, of course, we will have the parade. We will close C Street to start lining the parade up at 10 o'clock. The parade will be here on Main C Street at 12 p.m. and we will have the road closed until around 1 p.m. as the crowd disperses as such. We will have fireworks at dusk, so look for the sky to darken up well enough to have fireworks. We have added a little put to the show, so should be a pretty good presentation for the 250th anniversary of our nation. Also a reminder for Hot August Nights, which will be Friday and Saturday, July 31st and August 1st. They will be here in full regalia. We expect them to have their live entertainment. They'll have the merchandise and commerce will go on, as we've seen in the past, unlike the last 2 years. It was pre-sold tickets, and that sold out 2 months ago. So we know that there's an enthusiasm for those that want to return and see Virginia City back in its glory and heyday as we once had. So that's my quick report. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Todd. I don't have any questions for you, Vice Chairman.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Moving right along to the Comptroller's Office. Yeah, sorry, that was my stomach grumbling. Don't worry about it.
Jennifer McCain for the record, Story County Comptroller. I just wanted to let the board know that all of our budgets have been accepted and approved by taxation, so we are ready to start the new year. Also, I wanted to let you know that we have hired a new employee, Sarah Dillon. She's a previous employee with the county, and we're happy to have her.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. No, any questions, Vice Chairman? All right, thank you very much. How about community development? All right, PIO.
I'll make it quick. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Julia Moreno-Fritz, Public Information Officer for the record. I have a couple brief updates to share. So first, the Lockwood L project that was led by Stacy York, Director of Health and Community Services, along with Virginia City High School students Luke Branson and Derek McCoy, has been featured in the National Association of Counties County News publication. The project was made possible through a donation of 50 gallons of paint from Pittsburgh Paints, and we're super grateful for their support. NACO discovered this story through our social media and the Good Story initiative that I started this year, and it's encouraging to see that our social media efforts and the Good Story page are gaining attention and helping showcase the positive work around Story County. Additionally, I have been working with the Planning Department on a survey regarding accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, which will be mailed tomorrow to property owners in the R1 residential zoning district, and it will also be available online. For anybody who's unfamiliar with the term of an ADU, it's a small separate home that's located on the same property as a primary residence. The survey consists of 9 simple yes or no questions and can be completed online through the county websites. Residents may also download and print a PDF version from the website and complete and return the survey mailed to them. For completed paper surveys, please drop them off at the Virginia City Senior Center, Virginia City Visitor Center, or the Historic Courthouse Dropbox. Anyone with questions, comments, or concerns may contact the Planning Department at planning@storycounty.org or 775-847-1144. The deadline to submit any responses is July 8th, 2026. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Julia. Do you have any questions? No? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lee, did you have anything for us today? All right. How about the DA's office?
No update today.
All right, County Manager? I got him. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Austin Osborne, County Manager. Just want to give you a short update, a little bit what's going on at the Justice Court. We haven't talked about them for a little while. Let you know things are well. It's a great team, doing a great job over there. We're working together, however, on some reorganization and changing things up a little bit and building a strategic plan that's going to help a little bit with some bandwidth. I would say the theme that's going on over there right now is a little bit understaffed and substantially overloaded. They're working around the clock. There's some overtime happening, and there's some concerns about workload right now with the amount of staff that there are over there. I'm spending a substantial amount of my time working with their staff, their team, trying to do what we can to try to reorganize, change things around a little bit, reschedule. And then also we've been working on interviews of admins that can go and help. So far we have made a conditional offer to an admin 2. That person's really qualified, has some great background. We're excited about her starting. I think that'll be great help. And then we have a number of admin 1s right now we're preparing to interview that have some really interesting background that are probably going to be well suited for the type of work that we're looking. And we're looking at the potential of other additions as necessary, but we're going to start with these. I just want to really express my appreciation for Judge Harrington, as well as the team that in that building is working so hard. They get along, they work hard, they're great, but we got to get through some hills here. But I want to give you that update. That's all I have.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Sherman, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
All right. I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Clerk Treasurer's Office?
Nothing today, thank you.
All right. Community Chest?
Good afternoon. For the record, Eric Schoen with Community Chest. Just wanted to come with my annual reminder that summer programming is in full swing, so if folks are driving around the community center, please slow down. We are in excess of 100 students enrolled. We have our largest contingent group of middle schoolers, approximately 20 middle schoolers enrolled this year. And we are seeing a lot of use of both the park as well as we really appreciate the work that's gone into the swimming pool to bring that back to life, the foresight to invest in that. When that swimming pool is open, it makes our program probably the best program in the area for the proximity to the programming that we have. The other highlight I wanted to note is that our library is seeing record usage. We have a new team in charge with the retirement of the previous librarian. We have a new team who's reimagined the library. We have games, we have new books, and we're seeing basically the use of the library over 200, 250 instances of use every month. So a lot of usage by both the students who are in the programs as well as the public. Also wanted to appreciate Laura, Jennifer, and Sarah for their help with the budget and also your support for our budget request. It means a lot to have that strong county support for what we do. So, any questions?
Well, not for me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for the update, Eric. Is there anybody else that I forgot to call on that'd like to give an update? All right, thank you. Let's move right along to item number 41, this discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of business license second readings A through P. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not.
All right. Is there any public comment? Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the second reading of business licenses under item 41 listed as A through P.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 42. This is the second and final time for public comment. Is there any public comment in the courtroom today? Not seeing any. It brings us to item number 43. There's no action. Just note that there is correspondence. Bringing us to item number 44, which is adjournment of all active and recess boards on the agenda. It's 12:24 p.m. See you all in a couple weeks.
Notice of intent for the school district for a signature.
I wanted to give you color copies.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, so you have
Thank
it,
you, Julia.
and this will go on the website.
Thank you.
Okay, sure.